Hello everyone, Econael here. Now for my favorite games of 2024. First of all, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. That is an excellent and deep classical RPG and is also a great Warhammer 40k title, which is something not every Warhammer 40k title can say because a lot of them have pretty low quality, but not this one, it's very good. This game, I would say, is for you if you like tactical RPGs, if you like reading, and you like Warhammer 40k. I really enjoyed the departure from Dungeons and Dragons character classes because this game is not a D&D game. And it's interesting that you have the classes, which this game calls archetypes, and then each character also has a different kind of background which can heavily influence the gameplay. The game has great companions, and the companions have unique backgrounds. For example, you can have two companions which are both operatives for the archetype, but one of them is a psyker and can have like magic spells, and the other one is a tech priest, which is pretty unique. Also, one of my favorite characters in the game. And yeah, the companions have good and interesting dialogue. They have interesting backstories and also are just mechanically interesting and different from just basic mercenaries that you can get. The game has a lot of dialogue and it has less voice acting, I would say, than, for example, Baldur's Gate 3. This is something that put off some players who, it seems like maybe Baldur's Gate 3 was their first classical RPG, and they expected this game, which came out around the same time, to also be full of mocap and voice acting. Now, Rogue Trader has voice acting, it is very good, but it's mostly for some main story elements. However, the developer has added more voice acting since the game came out. I think it has great writing. It really feels like living inside a Warhammer 40k book, also because you spend so much time in it. Like my playthrough took 96.5 hours. And I've always enjoyed the writing from Owlcat games. I think it's leagues better than AAA writing. And I also enjoyed more than the writing of Larian Studios, which did Baldur's Gate 3 and previously Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. Rogue Trader, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, has a bit of a daunting leveling system, I would say, because you can combine, like you have like this origin, but then also you can combine up to 3 archetypes for each character. I don't remember whether it's then 30 or maybe even 60 levels per character. And at the beginning of the game, you'll be leveling up after every combat. By the way, the game is not real-time with pause like Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous was, which is the previous game of Owlcat games. This time it's real-time outside of combat, but then inside of combat, once combat starts, it's completely turn-based. And yeah, so you at the beginning of the game, you'll be leveling up after every combat, basically. And then later on, once you hit level, I don't know, 20 or 30 or something, I actually stopped leveling up on every level up, and I kind of gathered 3 level ups or so, and then only spent the points, which was fine because my guys were completely OP by then. And you can use, but I would say after like 20 hours with the game, you probably know all of the talents and feats that you can pick by heart, and you can use the favorite system to make it kind of quicker and easier for you to level. But similar to how, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous was a very deep game with very complicated classes and subclasses where you spend a lot of time leveling up. It's just a deep RPG game, and for people who enjoy these things. What I also liked about Rogue Trader is that it was very light on the inventory upkeep. So there's way less time spent in inventories compared to other games. For example, Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin 2 had a lot of time spent in the inventory, which I kind of didn't like. So differing to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, this game requires no pre-buffing, which was one of the downsides of Wrath of the Righteous. And what I also enjoy very much is there's no need for post heal. So after combat ends, all of your characters get revived and healed up to full HP. Now, I found this boring in real-time with pause RPG games, that after every combat you have to, sit around, wait for mana to regenerate and heal your guys. It's just a waste of time. And here that's not necessary. It doesn't mean that it doesn't matter how much hit points they lose or whether they die, because if they lose too many hit points or if they die, then they get debuffs, which you can remove with medkits. But still, it kind of streamlines everything and doesn't waste your time because you don't need to post heal. And typical for Owlcat games, there's a sub game included. This time it's naval combat with spaceships. I find it okay, it was not too bad. Not very engaging though, but it didn't bother me. And also there's then some planetary management, which was not too deep and it didn't bother me. Like, some people are generally bothered by the sub games in Owlcat games, CRPGs. I think it was fine, at least in Rogue Trader. Right, so 30,000 positive reviews, nothing to sneeze at. Not I would say it's not a very mainstream game where like everybody played it, because it's long. It requires a lot of reading and it requires you to, get in touch with the mechanics of the game. Otherwise, you need to reduce the difficulty, which is also fine. Because, if you just enjoy Warhammer 40k and you like the writing of this game, just play it on easy mode if you don't care about the mechanics in the combat. Definitely a recommendation from me. I enjoyed my time with it a lot. Next up, Slay the Spire. Would I recommend it? Yeah, baby. I mean, it's probably game of the year for me. Definitely game of the year contender. I think it is still the king of roguelike deck builders. But the thing is, the first time I played it, I bounced off of it hard. I thought it was stupid. I didn't get it. I really just didn't get it. But since so many people love it, then I checked out videos, check out Balolot on YouTube for some Slay the Spire guides. I watched a few videos, kind of understood how to properly deal with the RNG, how to, how to properly play a deck builder, I would say. And then it became one of my all-time favorite games. It is fantastic on the Steam Deck. It is kind of a bread and butter Steam Deck game. Some people say their Steam Deck is just a Slay the Spire machine for them, which is fine. I think Slay the Spire, even after so many games have tried to copy it, I don't know. I think the developers, they don't really truly grok and understand what exactly makes Slay the Spire so good. Because this game does many things very right, especially in player agency, which is something that a lot of copycats don't get right, where it's just too RNG heavy and they don't give you enough agency to influence the RNG in your favor. Slay the Spire has a lot of things where you have risk reward, where you can risk something, but then the payoff is good. I generally think the balance of Slay the Spire is very good. It has a lot of variety. It has very interesting relics that also integrate with the rest of the game mechanics, and they influence each other and the rest of the game, which is again something that a lot of copycats just don't get right. The game has interesting lore for the people that are into that. I really like the style of the game, and the music is great. Like, you can play it for a long time and it won't get on your nerves. It's really good music. Okay, the playtime, take it with a grain of salt because, dude, it's a roguelike. Like, some people have 1,000 hours in it. What does it even mean, 12 hours for the main story? What the hell? Like, what is even the main story? I don't know. But 185 positive reviews, overwhelmingly positive. It's still king of roguelike deck builders. But if Slay the Spire is the king, then Balatro is for sure the queen of roguelike deck builders. Balatro is the bomb. Definite recommendation. Also one of my all-time favorite games. And I personally think Balatro is a 10 out of 10 game, because I cannot think of anything that I would change about it. Like every aspect of Balatro is really good, really well done. And honestly, I think this is because the guy had 300 alpha testers and also spent a lot of time refining the game and really taking the feedback into consideration. And so many games nowadays, they have probably more marketing people in the creds than testers, and they don't test the games enough. Balatro spent a lot of time after, like, it probably was in a state where other developers would have just published it, and instead it got refined and refined and refined, and the final product is amazing. It's the bomb. I honestly cannot say if it is better than Slay the Spire because it is different enough to make the comparison difficult. I mean, because it's just so different. You're playing a version of poker. You're changing the deck a lot. Like some things that Balatro does better than Slay the Spire is, for example, in Slay the Spire, you can get relics. You can get way more relics. And there's different tiers of relics. Some relics influence the game a lot and change how it plays a lot. I mean, this is the same in Balatro, of course, with the jokers. But the thing is, you can rearrange your jokers, you can sell your jokers and buy new jokers in the shop. You also can buy relics in Slay the Spire, but the thing is, you interact with the shop less. And in Balatro, you interact with the shop a lot, so it kind of gives you more agency. But is it really better? I don't know. The kind of Slay the Spire has a different structure, and there's different things you need to strategize against. I really don't want to pick a favorite, honestly, because both are very, very good roguelike deck builders, but they're also different enough to not to say, okay, I can leave them both, because there's a lot of copycats for Slay the Spire, but they kind of copy it so much that you really have to compare it. And Balatro does not copy it that much. It's different enough. All right. Also, take the playtime with a grain of salt. It's a fantastic Steam Deck game, overwhelmingly positive, amazing game. Definitely play it. Definite recommendation. All right, next one. Bit of a hidden gem, only not even 4,000 positive reviews. Overwhelmingly positive. I would recommend it, definitely, yes. It's a very polished rhythm game. Very polished. I would say Nintendo level of polish for the game. It's perfect for the Steam Deck. And what is it? It's like a rhythm game where you kind of have to do inputs in rhythm to the music. Now it's quite different from, what was this? Audio Surf, right? So the gameplay is definitely a bit deeper than Audio Surf and way more polished. I'll give you a tip. You can unlock all of the tracks on easy mode, and then you can use the favorite system in game to hide all of the tracks you dislike. There's really no need to play the tracks where you just don't like the music. Don't do it. And then once you kind of hit the stars, I think you collect stars or something like that. Once you hit that on easy, go up in difficulty, which unlocks more difficult gameplay mechanics. I would say the only downside of this game is that on higher difficulties, they can be stressful, and I would get a little bit dizzy when I play it, because it's so fast on higher difficulties that you kind of forget to blink, and then this constant scrolling motion kind of makes you a little bit dizzy, at least me. But still, very cool game. It's just not a game that you can play for extended play sessions. Maybe you play a little bit here and there. What the fuck are these hours for completion is the main story? Like, I don't know, man. It's a it's a music rhythm game. Right, next up. 10,000 positive reviews, so not really hidden gem. Probably you've heard about it. It's a turn-based tactics puzzle game. So some people didn't like it because they expected something like, I don't know, XCOM, but it's more like a puzzle game. It has very interesting puzzles, and it's very quick gameplay. So like booting up the game, getting into a play session takes only a few seconds. And also you can rewind time because it's a puzzle game, and you've done a mistake. You can kind of rewind and just try again. I really like, you know by now probably, I really like these art styles with just flat colors and shapes and not too many details. I enjoy that. I found the writing to be pretty good. Sadly, there's no voice acting for it, but yeah, total recommendation. Really enjoyed my time with it. Next up, Death Stranding. So, when I first saw the game, I said, no way I'm playing this stupid walking sim. Fuck off. I'm not gonna play that. And then I got it for free on Epic Games and I thought, what the hell, I'll give it a try. Dude, I really liked it. I did not expect to like this game. It doesn't really fit a genre. I wouldn't call it a walking sim. It is way more than a walking sim, honestly. Because a walking simulator was at first kind of a derogatory term for games like Dear Esther, where you just press forwards and enjoy the atmosphere, and there was really no gameplay. It's not the case in Death Stranding. Death Stranding has a lot of gameplay. It is like what is similar to other games, like true walking simulators are usually atmospheric games. Death Stranding is very atmospheric and also quite immersive. The story is a bit of a mystery, and I enjoy mysteries. But what's super important is it answers everything at the end, because there's so many what the fuck moments where you just don't understand what the hell is happening in this weird world. And that's what makes it interesting. That's what hooks you. And it's not like Lost. Do you remember Lost, like the TV series that opened up mystery after mystery after mystery, and then it ended and didn't answer anything? That was such a letdown. Death Stranding is not like that. It answers everything at the end. It answers it tastefully. I liked it. At the beginning, you'll see all of these characters, and a lot of them are such weirdos, where you sit there, watch the cutscene, and you're thinking, what the fuck are these weirdos? Why is everybody so weird? What's going on? But the thing is that after I don't know, like 10-15 hours of playtime, you then get to experience their backstory, and then it makes sense. At the beginning, I was thinking, I didn't play the Metal Gear series, and this was more or less my first Kojima game, because I think Metal Gear Rising Revengeance wasn't done by Kojima. And at the beginning, I was thinking, this guy is nuts. Like, what the hell is going on? Why is everything so weird? Why is everything about babies and parents and umbilical cords? This guy has some issues, man. But the thing, he probably does, and he obviously does. I mean, he even talks about these things. But these weird characters, after you hear the backstory, it makes sense why they are like that. And then, okay, people say it's a walking simulator because most of the gameplay is traversing the environment, and on a very shallow first look, you're carrying packages from A to B. But the thing is, no other game, and there's a lot of YouTube videos about this fact, no other game has made traversal so interesting, because it's really kind of the deepest traversal on foot that I have seen in any game, because you can trip, you really have to scan your environment. Rivers are difficult and dangerous. Steep inclines are difficult and dangerous. And the more, like, you kind of want to carry more stuff, but the more you carry, the more difficult it becomes, and you can lose the things. They can get damaged. I would actually say it's a bit like Euro Truck Simulator, where on paper you would say, why would I want to play this? This is not interesting. But then you play it and it actually is. And I would say the whole gameplay, the mechanics, but also the world, the mystery of the story makes it one of the most memorable games I have ever played, for sure. And it's not a walking sim. It has combat. It has way more combat than you would think. It makes sense why it has this combat. It's not all of the time, and also not in the beginning of the game, but it has way more combat than you would expect. What I didn't like about it, oh my god, the exposition. I don't know, I think this is like a Kojima thing, but I don't like it. Like, I really don't like when games and also movies have too much exposition. Show, don't tell. And Kojima is a show and then tell and then tell again kind of guy. At sometimes it was really hard to bear. And also, the first 1 or 2 hours, I would say, was a barrage of tutorials. There was like tutorial after tutorial after tutorial, but then you get over it, and afterwards it's fine. And I would say the side quests had lower quality than the main story, but they're also not necessary. And yeah, and then you get to notice that the game doesn't really take itself seriously. I mean, at the beginning, at the beginning, it looks like it takes itself seriously, and you would say, wow, this is super weird. This is so Japanese. But then after a while, you see Kojima doesn't take himself seriously. And yeah, very memorable game. I can definitely suggest playing it. And you also spend quite some time with it, like 40 hours for the main story. Maybe if you skip all of the side content, and actually, honestly, the side quests are not really necessary. A lot of the side quests unlock extra gear, but it's not. You can play without it. You don't really need it. And every main mission gives you the stuff, hands you the stuff that you need to beat it. Yeah, just like Euro Truck Simulator 2. If you think you won't like it, you will. It's good. It's actually quite good. All right, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Would I recommend it in 2025? It's not like Space Marine 1, I would say. So I would recommend it to diehard fans and to maybe to people who... I didn't play it in co-op, so I don't know if it has any issues. But the thing is, it's kind of a co-op first game. So again, it's a third-person combat game. And it changes up the combat a little bit. So now you have like dodge and parry. So you have really enemies that you have to parry, and some attacks that you cannot parry and you have to dodge. And some people say they kind of soulsified the combat, but I think it's still good. Honestly, it's kind of laughable and ridiculous to see an ultramarine in power armor do a dodge roll. It's hilarious. Honestly, I think Ultramarines doing a dodge roll doesn't really fit Warhammer 40k. It doesn't. I don't know how... what was the name? I forgot. I forgot. Like the company that does that owns the franchise, how they let this happen. Because really, dodge rolling? I mean, an Ultramarine is really like a tank on foot. Whatever. Anyway, I kind of didn't like that it's a co-op game first, and the solo campaign really feels tagged on, because a lot of like the GUI and the text, etc., it kind of feels like the solo campaign is a bit like a mod for the game that was made to be co-op first. It really feels like that. It does not feel like the solo campaign is a first-class citizen in this game. And I expected more content. Maybe, I mean, Space Marine 1 wasn't very long. And maybe in hours, the main story is the same. But since, I don't know, I think like it's later on, maybe they had more budget. I kind of expected a little bit more content, but the pacing was fine. It was good. The graphics and the art style is phenomenal. Like one of the prettiest, or probably the prettiest Warhammer 40k game. Amazing graphics. You can like read the holy litany on the pauldron of the Ultramarine because the textures are so sharp and everything. It's really well done. I personally disliked fighting Tyranids. I find Tyranids a little bit boring. I really miss the orcs. Man, the orcs are... See, so Warhammer 40k is not serious, not really. I think this is controversial, right? So some people take it seriously. I don't take it seriously. It's hard to say what the intention is of the creators, because I'm not a Warhammer 40k nerd, so don't kill me, right, if I say something that's not right. But to me, it looks like there's not really a single entity that can say this is Warhammer 40k, because I've not read I think I've not read a single Warhammer 40k book, but there are so many authors for these books, right? And so who's to say what is Warhammer 40k and what is not, right? So, okay, it's a franchise and people have a trademark on it and they can say what is Warhammer 40k and what not. But still, it kind of looks like Warhammer 40k is making fun of many things, of humanity, of tropes, yeah. And when you see the orcs in Warhammer 40k, it's obvious that it's not serious. Like, it's super obvious that orcs are not serious. And some other entities in the Warhammer 40k universe, they are serious because it's kind of sarcasm. It's kind of not, right? And I miss the orcs, man. They just make Warhammer 40k so fun, and they're not in this. And yeah, I wish there were orcs in Space Marine 2. I was not a huge fan of the story of Space Marine 1, but I would say this one is a pretty decent continuation of it. Except for one thing I'm not gonna spoil, which I think is just hilariously awful. But this is the same. I mean, the story for Space Marine 1 had one thing which I think is hilariously awful, but whatever. The last mission felt really epic. There's a lot of instances in the game that feel amazing. For example, there's like one scene where you, in a level where you have to activate some stuff, some thingamajig, and then you see like Tyranids in the background. And there's often in these games where you see entities fighting in the background and you know it's just background dressing. And in these games you see like these hordes of Tyranids in the background and you assume it's background dressing, and then they just run towards you and you have to fight them. And that was amazing. Like, some parts felt really epic. I did not feel challenged by Space Marine 2 because difficulty level 3 out of 4 felt not really doable solo. It was very frustrating because it feels like it's made for being played in co-op, because you have 2 AI companions and they behave brain dead, and it feels like it's made to be played by multiple humans, and the AI just is too bad to help you in this situation, and it was too frustrating to do it solo. And then I reduced the difficulty to 2 out of 4, and then it's a ruffle stomp. It's just too easy, and that's why I didn't feel challenged by Space Marine 2. Maybe one of the main reasons why I cannot just give you a flat out recommendation for it, because that's shitty. That's also what bothers me about the game. It seems like it's cope first and the solo campaign is just tacked on. And another thing I didn't like is that there were a lot of bolter subtype weapons, like different kinds of bolter. I mean, for me, honestly, it's enough to have like a handgun bolter, then like a regular bolter and a heavy bolter. I don't need more. Okay, then obviously like a sniper rifle or something like that, which is also a type of bolter. But the game had so many bolter subtypes that I've heard for the first time, and I have played a bunch of Warhammer 40k games before. Even like Warhammer 40k Chaos Gate was maybe my first Warhammer 40k game. And they feel the same. They're so similar. I really can't tell the difference between a few of these bolter subtypes. Whatever, man. It's, yeah. If you're gonna, maybe it's a lot of fun in co-op, and if you have friends to play it with, try that. If you're a die-hard 40k fan, and maybe 1 or 2 years down the road when you can get it for cheap, it's a really pretty Warhammer 40k game. Well, yeah. Next up, mini shoot adventures. Hidden gem, definitely, because less than 10,000 positive reviews. Overwhelmingly positive. The game is so good. It's a top-down bullet hell Metroidvania. Top-down bullet hell, so that means you have to avoid being hit. First and foremost, that's what bullet hell means. And then dealing damage back is only second priority. And it's a Metroidvania. I don't enjoy Metroidvanias because I kind of don't enjoy backtracking. But I don't think I don't enjoy backtracking. I think I just don't enjoy side-scrolling platformers, and most Metroidvanias are kind of side-scrolling platformers. But this game had very quick traversal. It had a lot of kind of, I would say, Souls-like shortcuts that you unlock, and the game really respects your time. I enjoyed 90% of my time with the game, which I cannot say for many games. For me, I played most of it on the Steam Deck, and for me, it's a solid 9 out of 10, only because there were some minor frame drop issues on the Steam Deck. There were like one or two special enemies that would really tank the frame rate, and I had to, and I think one of them was even a boss, and I had to play these encounters on my PC. Maybe they fixed this by now, and then it's a 10 out of 10. Really fun game. Amazing. Definitely get it. Hidden Gem. Yeah, those were my favorite games of 2024. Maybe something interesting for you there. Thanks for watching. Have fun. Bye.